In this brand new series, I take a tier 1 meta deck that has been thrust into the spotlight either from a ban list or because of insane new support from a recent set that features a full-on deck profile, deck analysis with all the math behind the deck, combo guides and live test hands, a run at an event, whether that's a regional, case tournament, YCS, or any other event to showcase how it stacks up against the top meta decks, as well as a full counter guide for everything you need to know on how to beat that deck. In this 4-part series, the first top tier meta strategy I will showcase is Kashtira. This is Meta Sheep. Alright everyone, welcome back to YGO PD, your Yu-Gi-Oh! Professional Development. Today I am so excited to finally be launching this series. A lot of work and time has gone into it. Huge shout out to Delta Graphics for helping me out with some of these animations. I'm really excited to start off this series with the first episode being the deck profile. This is where I've landed. Of course it will change as the meta decides to kind of shake itself out and we see how Kashtira is going to be played and blended in with other decks. Of course, before we start, I want to shout out our new public subs of the channel. Eric, React, Lol, Bartlin, Caesar, Vincent, Zach, Edwin, Thorin, Tat, Keith, Angel, and Scone. Thank you all so much for joining. It really means a lot to have you here. We've broken through 800. We are on the cusp of on our way to hitting 1,000. That is absolutely insane. If you want to subscribe and you like seeing what I do, please do so. It really does help. The algorithm, it helps a lot when you when you engage with comments. It really does mean a lot. This would not be possible without all of you guys. So just thank you a lot for all of that. And with all that said, let's go ahead and hop right into the deck profile. Okay, starting off with the main deck, I will start with, of course, the Kashtira package, and then we will work our way towards the non-engine cards. Starting off, this card needs no introduction, has become the main key card of the strategy is Kashtira Unicorn, arguably now the best starter in the deck by far. Just adds any Kashtira spell from your deck to your hand and lets your plays go forward. Similarly, we have 3 Fenrir. This is probably the second best starter in the deck. Can search you any Kashtira monster and still kind of allows you to keep playing depending on what you search. And that best card that you are searching is 3 Kashtira Riseheart. This is a really solid extender, one of the best extenders in the deck, makes itself level 7 by banishing a Kashtira card from your deck as cost, which is really, really good. Helps get Big Bang out of the way and combo off. And then to round it out, we are playing 1 Tearlaments Kashtira and 2 Scareclaw Kashtira. We are not on Ogre nor on Preparations. If you like that package, feel free to play 1 and 1. But this is where I've landed in terms of the Kashtira package for the monsters. I find this is really, really good. Double Scareclaw is really, really solid just because, again, it helps out cards like Baguska. I'm sure you've heard that plenty of times. And attacking in defense mode is really, really neat and helps you kind of just push for good damage. So that's it for the Kashtira monsters. On to the spells as it relates to the engine. We play triple Pot of Prosperity. You kind of need this in pure at least to help with the consistency. It already has a ton of searchers, but this card just really helps you guarantee a starter. It's absolutely nuts. Prosperity is a mainstay 3 of, and then in line with that we play 3 of the Pressured Planet here. That's our other primary starter for Kashtira. Really just helps us search our monsters, primarily going to be Unicorn, sometimes Fenrir, and if you're happen to open both of those, then you can always search a 3rd extender. Of course, we do play the 1 Terraforming. You want to play as many copies of your +1s as well as your starters as possible, and that is exactly what our planet is. From there, we play 3 Birth. This is probably pretty straightforward, but some builds play 2. Again, I like 3. It really just helps you play through interruptions, getting hit really hard out of the gate with an Imperm or an Ash on like Fenrir or Unicorn, something like that. Allowing you to normal and play through it is just really, really important, and Birth helps you do that. And in that same line, we play triple Theosis. This is the E-Telly of the deck. Specials a Kashtira from your deck to the field in defense position, locks you into Xyz, and what you special has to be a different attribute than the one you targeted on field. So 3 Theosis and also recycles back when it's banished. So really, really powerful card. And then, of course, the 1 mandatory Big Bang. You recycle this almost like a million times throughout the game. So 1 is perfectly fine no matter where it goes. You're going to be able to find it, get it back, and abuse it. So that is it for the main Kashtira package. The rest of the deck that rounds out at 40 is non-engine. This can be hand traps, this can be board breakers. It depends on how you want to build it. I have taken the approach to avoid losing to the incredible new tactics that are in the game. So we're starting off our non-engine here with triple Lava Golem. This deck is one of the craziest decks because it does not need their normal summon. You're specialing all the time. Very rarely do you ever need that extra normal with birth, and even then it's just like you're going first anyway at that point, so having this is not a big deal and it's ready for follow-up. But 3 Lava Golem is like an insane card this format, almost mandatory, and in a similar realm to that is triple Evenly Matched. Yes, these aren't cards that are going to stop your opponent when you go first, but you're relying heavily on the Kashtira package to set up a board that is either going to be more than enough or just prevent you from getting OTK'd, and then on the follow-up you have so much stuff that recurs with Kashtira that you're adding back that these are just insane blowouts to have. So Lava Golem, Evenly, absolute musts, and then in that same realm, the one hand trap is 3 Imperm. Again, playing cards that don't play into the new tactics is really, really important. And speaking of the new tactics, one of the most insane cards of the format, we are on 2 Thrust and 2 of the regular triple tactics talent. You can cut this and change it around if you want to play just 2 of one or 2 of the other, or none, and go a lot more into hand traps. You most certainly can do that. I like the balance here. You're not going to be playing all Kashtira mirrors, and not all Kashtira mirrors are even going to be just board breaker focused. So you're going to see Ash a lot in the format. Droll is existing now and starting to pop up a little bit, with Shifter kind of falling out of favor. So you want cards that help you continue to play through, and even being able to set a card like Thrust is a really, really easy way to dodge those kinds of cards. So really powerful. And then our 40th card is One Dimensional Barrier. I wanted one really solid going first card in the main deck that could be searched off our new card here, Thrust. Since you can get tactics obviously going second, here you can get Evenly going second. You have a lot more utility going second with those cards. I wanted some type of blowout going first, and D-Barrier felt like the most universal pick, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. But that is the main deck. Again, a clean 40 cards. We'll go ahead and hop into the extra deck. Okay, for the extra deck, we will start with the Xyz, of course, and then work our way into a couple links near the end. But starting off, this is probably the most imperative card this format for extra decks is going to be Zeus. I am actually on 3 Zeus. This is a bit overkill and may not be needed. However, depending on how you open and how your opponent opens, there's a good chance they're going to banish this one right away, and then on the follow-up on your when they go from the turn right after, there's a chance they can banish a second one on your first action. So having the third in there is really, really nice, and I just enjoy having it. So 3 is not necessary. You could get away with 2, but 3 is just my safe point, and I really, really do enjoy it. So after that, the rest are kind of 2-ofs that really just buff out the extra here. Double Mind Hacker. This card is nuts. This card just trashes on every deck, ripping a card out of their extra deck and continually banishing cards face down up to the number of cards face down they already have. That's insane. Punishing decks like Sword Soul this format that are trying to run cards like Desires. They banish 10, you banish 10 more is insane. So really, really powerful card. Have to have it at least at 2. And then similarly, we are on 2 Shangri-Ira. Again, you could bump this up if you want, but again, I think 2 is fine. This is your mainstay combo that pairs with your Mind Hacker that helps lock all the zones and get everything going. And then the boss monster of Kashtira, of course, is double Arise Heart. Again, this is another card. If you would like to consider bumping it up to 3, you most certainly can. But again, I think fine is where it's at 2. There's no big deal. You don't need to run 3. And then the last couple Xyz here, we are on 2 Red Eyes Flare Metal, and actually 1 Pearly Happiness. I really like this card at 1 of. This guy is here strictly mainly for time. Having that insane out is just really powerful. This is a little bit interesting. It's like a skill drain pseudo, but a little bit worse. They can obviously respond to it. You're not playing Pearlies, so they can respond to this, but it helps in really niche situations when decks make like an untargetable Avramax or undestructible Avramax, like rogue type stuff. This does a really good job of turning things off and then just letting your Zeus play happen really, really easily. So that's a really solid card. I do like it. It is a really good slot to me. And then the last 3 are kind of some utility links. 1 Donner to help with the IP, 1 Lingeribo to also help with the IP, and then 1 Goliath for some added protection, since you can attach back with a card like a Rise Heart, even if it gets banished face down. So you have some utility there. But that is the extra deck. Pretty straightforward. Nothing too crazy, but overall feels like a really solid package. After that, we'll go ahead and transition into the side deck. I'll showcase some of the going first cards and some of the going second cards. This is going to look a little bit different. I've built my side deck a little bit more around the new tactics, and you'll kind of see why. Starting off, I'm putting Solemn Judgment here, but the one thing I really do want to mention is ultimately this piece right here, this slot of 3 cards, is your choice for what your preferred going first card slot is going to be. Ideally, in a perfect world, I would say Ibli is probably the most optimal choice. You could go with a card like Fog King, Mask of Restrict, or stick with Solemn Judgment. It's more just about what are you afraid of the most. Do you want the utility of Ibli guaranteeing to turn stuff off? Do you want the Solemn to protect yourself from something like Evenly Matched? Wherever it is, that's kind of your choice here. For now, I've been back and forth between both Solemn Judgment and Evenly Matched, or sorry, not Evenly Matched, Ibli. But again, this could be whatever you like. For the going second cards, we have triple Sphere Mode. I think this is just a double down. We're seeing a lot of cashless go in on this on top of Lava Golem. You just want to guarantee clear the board, and then you can just get your stuff into a simplified game state, and then Kashtira really just runs everything over from there. So really powerful card. And then the one card that I actually am enjoying right now, kind of as a maybe dark horse piece in the side, is triple Droll. Sword Soul's coming back into the meta with a lot of searching and drawing. Kashtira obviously does a lot of that. Branded does just a little bit of that, but particularly this is quite a blowout card. Dimension Shifter is really leaving the format now with Rogue. People are just more leaning on a Rise Heart's Macrocosmos effect and don't feel Shifter is as needed. So you see that being a little bit more relegated to the side. So a card like this is very punishing, especially if you're on a mirror and you're going into game 3. Your opponent is not keeping Shifter in. That's a dead card in the mirror. So they're taking that out for something more valuable. And having to be able to drop Droll right away and then potentially OTK right off the bat is just insane. So the last couple slots here revolve around thrust a little bit. So we do side the third thrust, and then going first, we are playing in a pointer and a second D barrier. So that way you kind of have up to 5 copies of D barrier and 4 copies of a pointer going all in. And then your other final 3 slots, again, these could be preference, but I'm on 1 Mind Control, 1 Change of Heart, and 1 Lightning Storm to go in with the 3 thrust. Just normal spells that are really powerful and just alter the game state all on their own. So that is it for the main deck. That is it for the extra deck. And that is it for the side deck. And that is our first episode of Meta Sheep. Really excited I could roll this out. Next week, we'll have the full-on deck analysis with all the math, the combo guides, the test hands, all that good stuff. Really wanted to showcase this out. Really excited to be able to have this going on in addition to some of the regular content on the channel. But with all that said, thank you all again so much for watching. This is not possible without all of you. And I will see you all in the next one. Later.